Hi, I'm Ian Pye. Raised in Sydney, Australia and Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA, I've been traveling the globe since I was a nipper, thanks to Dad's job as an engineer. He introduced me to the beauty of the natural environment in places like the USA, Canada, the tropical islands of the South Pacific, and my own backyard, Australia. That early love for the bush led to my first job as a jackaroo, a farm bloke rounding up sheep and cattle on horseback before my environmental management degree, and a segue into environmental roles. I was a ranger with the New South Wales National Parks and managed a World Heritage area called Mungo Lake National Park. This is where my landscape work started. Fast forward through 8 careers and 46 years, I've evolved from a farm boy through to programmer to management consultant, helping the government and others manage their projects. Along the way, I married a gem of a Thai woman who's my rock and my travel buddy through Southeast Asia, a key influence on my photography. And talking of photography influences, I got into it in the 1980s at uni, armed with a 50mm SLR and darkroom, and was influenced by my old man. He was quite an artistic photographer. Those experiences, plus travels to places like Mexico, Hawaii, Tahiti, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam, cemented photography and photographic art as a lifelong passion for me. In landscapes, I love the brilliant reds, golds, and yellows in a scene, whether it's an abstract pattern or the early morning sunrise. This approach shows up in my Mekong Sun series, which focuses on small frames of the sunrise over the Mekong River. These days, I'm also using black and white, dialing down the hues to focus on textures and light variations. I find it's most expressive when I capture the faces and hands of those I meet. You can observe and feel the story of their life. You can see some examples in my black and white portfolio on the Jasmine Images website. In terms of what I'm doing now, I've got a couple of ongoing projects, mostly fueled by the beaches here in Eastern Australia. One focuses on the details of lines, textures, and colors coming out in the dry sand of the beach, wet sand, waves, and people movement along the shore, capturing what I feel is the essence of the place. You can see the result in my Corrimal and Glenelg beach shots. The other project's a bit of a time capsule experiment, using long exposures to catch the dynamics between the still and the bustling on the shore. I also like the strength of narrative. I find myself embarking on the stories of the lives of village folk and an orphanage in which I'm closely associated. A Women of the Rice Fields in the portfolio of my website is an example of that. Sometimes my travels take me face to face with the hard realities of life. I try to catch that in portraits, increasingly in black and white, zeroing in on the faces and hands that tell their own stories. I'm still on that upward curve, constantly learning to get that shot I find most pleasing, and if I'm lucky, others find interesting too. I'm always going to be learning from other photographers and photographic artists who share their great work with the world. I just hope that as I age, my eyesight is the last thing that fails, so I can continue my photographic journey. I spent some time in northeastern Thailand in the Nakhon Phanom area and in the That Phanom district. This sits along the Mekong River and borders Laos. Whilst there, I discovered that if you are up in the morning by 6 a.m., you can witness the most spectacular sunrises across the river looking toward Laos. It's a beautiful experience to be part of the calm and peaceful rising sun over Laos, with the sky changing color over 15 to 20 seconds to the next palette of fire colors. The red, orange, and yellow hues of the clouds eventually give way to clear blue, sandwiching the changing oranges between the river and the clearing sky. Every time you click the shutter, you get a new scene of the rising Laos sun. Winter mornings. The autumn and winter months in Canberra are always cold, relatively speaking, and quite often foggy in the early mornings. Often we will get temperatures as low as -8 in the mornings, and even at -2 degrees we'll get thick fog rolling in to shroud the low-lying areas. Frozen fields and grasslands lie underneath, creating an interesting wintry landscape. The fog sucks out all color and leaves a monochrome scene, as you can see in these shots of protected grasslands. It often reminds me of the shots you see during the 1935-1940 Depression in the American prairie states by Arthur Rothstein or Dorothea Lange. The black and white image aims to capture that. If you would like to see more of these types of photographs, visit my website, which is /jasmineimages.com. Use HTTPS.